12.
Wow.
Number 12.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have won the NHL Draft Lottery, and Matt Sundin is smiling ear to ear.
And welcome to Draft Week, everybody. It is upon us. This is one of my favorite broadcasts of the entire season. It's actually one of my favorite weeks of the year because there's so much that happens between today all the way up to next Wednesday when it's going to be the free agent frenzy. Great to have everybody with us. I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. I know the least amount on this panel, so I'm going to be talking the least. Joined by the host of the Final Buzz of the man that knows a hell of a lot more than me. I'm Mr. John Falkowski.
Here we go. Started up full speed or nothing. So let's do this.
And continuing our star-studded panel, we have Matt from Rangers Central.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. And draft week. Let's see what happens. Obviously, I think we have a good feeling of who's going number one, but then the question is what happens after that.
We did have a good conversation about how high the stock is, and we're going to be talking more about that. And joining us as well from Rangers Central, here's Evan.
What's going on, everyone?
Face.
Exciting time of the year, as always. Get to put our binoculars on, play pretend and scout, and of course see what happens going into free agency. So busy week up ahead.
Yep, and a man that finally has a banner for himself, Mr. Statboy Steven.
Hey guys, good evening from Dublin. I know it's still the afternoon in New York, but happy to be here. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, this draft. Whoop, sorry. And wait, there we go. No, my bad. I clicked on the wrong one. But this draft is going to be a very interesting one, and you have the guy that everybody is kind of anointed to be number one, but how exactly solid is that? And how does the rest of the top 10 shake out specifically, and what will the ramifications be? That's what we're going to be getting into right now. Guys, of course, this is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. And let's get to our mock draft right now. And let's look no further than the Toronto Maple Leafs in pick number one. Mr. Falkowski, I see it to you.
I mean, I've heard the discussion online and about how, this is one of the more open drafts in terms of the number one, how there could be a couple of guys that could have went there. I don't think, however, that Toronto can go off the board with this. I don't think they can afford it. I think it's got to be Gavin McKenna. I think if anything, you're looking at a guy that's probably the most dynamic player in the entire draft. I think he has the highest ceiling. I do think that what he did this year was really solid. I think it shows a lot of character because I think he could have put up 150 points in his sleep with Medicine Hat, but he decided to go a harder route. And there are a few other prospects that did this as well, who went to the NCAA instead of playing in the WHL or in the CHL in general. But Gavin McKenna put up 51 points in 35 games as a true freshman who spent a good part of that year as a 17-year-old. So I am going to go with Gavin McKenna here. I think the comparable for me, he reminds me a lot of Patrick Kane. A guy that's not a complete burner, has incredible hands, incredible shot, great playmaking IQ, probably turns out to be a little more of a playmaker at the next level, but a guy that I think that could score 30 to 40 goals. One thing that I like about McKenna that he does that a lot of people don't seem to get him credit for is he knows how to find the dead spaces. He attacks the middle of the ice in different ways. And the ways that he does it reminds me exactly of the way that Kane does it. Like, he'll be moving around, and people like get on him and say his compete level's not great, but he moves around and he'll find a dead space and he'll attack that dead space in the middle of the ice and score goals. Like, he's not afraid to go to the dirty areas. He's really not. Like, is he a meat and potatoes, rah sandpaper type dude? No, and you wouldn't expect him to be that, but he knows how to get into the right places to score goals and make plays. So I do think that he is it very much the Kane comparison is what I liked when I heard that. So I'm very much on board with Toronto. Biggest thing for me, and I don't think this should be the biggest thing. I think if you have a best player available at your position, no matter if it's the first pick or pick 24 or whatever, I think you should take who you think is the best player available. But I do think that there would be major backlash if they took someone else other than McKenna at 1 after winning this draft lottery and picking number 1 overall for the first time in a long time. So I think it's going to be McKenna.
Now, Phil, just with that, you're saying that they can't go off the board and that they have to take McKenna because he's the best player available. Is there any way anybody can make a case for a Chase Reed jumping up, or because Toronto needs the help of the blue line, even with Darren Radish going there now? But then you also have maybe Ivor Stenberg. This is definitely McKenna to lose.
Stenberg might be, when it's all said and done, he could end up being the best player from this draft. I would not be shocked one bit if that was the case, but I don't know. I just think there would be a lot of backlash. Some people believe that Reed isn't even the best defenseman, which, I mean, there's an argument for and against. I do see that, but I just don't think you can, again, go off the board here in the position that they're in. It's like when the Rangers took Jessamine at 12 in 2003. Their prospect cupboard was barren, and they couldn't afford to take a big home run swing, and they did. And it did not turn out well for them. I'm not saying Stenberg would be like that, because I think Stenberg is – whoever gets Ivar Stenberg is getting a hell of a player. There's very few holes in his game that really need to be improved upon. But you have to take McKenna here. I can't see any other way for Toronto.
Well, because then at number 2, Matt, does that make your decision quite easy?
It depends, because I think there's a couple ways that the Sharks can go with this pick. Listen, they got lucky. They won the second pick when they probably shouldn't have, but credit to them. Like I said, there's 2 ways they could go with this. They could either take best player available, or they could go for need. And listen, I'm not saying that the Sharks couldn't use an Ivar Stenberg, because like Phil said, when it's all said and done, he probably could be the best player in the draft. But I do look at their defensive core. And when you look towards the future, Dmitry Orlov is eventually going to go. Klingberg is going to go. A guy like Mario Ferraro will probably end up being traded. And they do have a guy like Sam Dickinson already on the roster, which they drafted a couple years ago. I think in Mike Greer's case, and again, this depends, because I think they could even trade down with this pick, and then, like I said, trade down, recoup assets, and then go for another player. I think they'll go defenseman here. I just have a feeling. I could be wrong, though. And that's why with the second pick in the NHL draft, the San Jose Sharks will go from the Prince George Cougars, Carson Karls, as a defenseman.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And the reason why I like Carson Karls a lot from looking at his draft film, one, I think he's a fantastic two-way defenseman. I like his passing. I thought his playmaking was very good. He has very good vision. He's able to carry the puck up the ice pretty easily. Like I said, his skating is good. He has a good shot. Physically, I do think, again, compared to his competition, I thought physically he looked at least decent. He looked competitive. Again, making the jump to the NHL, he's going to have to, bulk up a little bit, because you are playing against men compared to, 17, 16-year-olds or, even 15-year-olds down in the CHL. Defensively, like I said, because he's a good two-way defenseman. I like his defensive stick, his gap control. I also liked as well. The only stuff for me that I think he has to work on, for me at least from watching his film, stick handling and his decision making sometimes was a little bit off in terms of maybe trying to do that extra stretch pass or maybe trying one too many skill moves or something. But again, that's going to come with development. That's going to come with experience. I do think Carson Karls has a strong chance of going second. Again, maybe this is one of those things we see where maybe San Jose trades down and takes Karls. But I do see a chance where they do end up taking Karls with the second pick to pair him with a guy like Sam Dickinson and really establishing, that defensive core that they have going forward, along with guys like, Celebrini, Will Smith, Eklund, and guys like that.
Let's go around the room on this one. Evan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about this being a shocker?
We've heard a bit of smoke, I feel like, about the Sharks really liking Karls, but like I go back and forth on it because I agree with Matt. Like I think the best scenario for the Sharks still is you trade back with a team that really wants to jump up and take Stenberg if you're that set on going with a defenseman, because the assets you could get for a team that will want Stenberg, it's a pretty big haul, and Karls will be there probably a little bit later on if you wait. And even then, I've said it a couple times, I think even, worst case, if Karls doesn't fall to them, if they trade back to 4, 5, or 6, somewhere in that range, at the very worst, you could probably still get yourself a solid defenseman on the board. So, yeah, like I would not be shocked if they just went with the guy they wanted at 2, if there's an offer that's not blowing them away. But I think it would be a mistake to not trade back if they're going to go for Karls.
Steven, how would this change things up for you in your mind?
Well, look, I've been under the impression that the established top 4 is McKenna, Stenberg, Reed, Malhotra in any order. If Karls goes in the top 4, that changes up a lot of things, especially for the Rangers at 5, right? However, for the Sharks, I do feel that defense is a bigger need for them, and I don't think there's as big a gap skill-wise between the top defensemen in this draft and a guy like Stenberg or Malhotra. And I could see why they like Carson Karls more than Chase Reed. I could totally see this happening. Look, and back in 2017, this reminds me of 2017, where the Dallas Stars picked Miro Heiskanen 3rd overall, which was a huge surprise back then. Sometimes teams just know who they want, and regarding the trading down, you don't see that very often anymore because teams would rather pick a guy 1 or 2 spots too high than trade down and risk losing the guy they really want.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this actually is just an amazing situation. Phil, let me get your last thoughts before I go to Evan for pick number 3.
I can't see this because of 2 reasons. One, the trade down factor that we talked about earlier on. I think if they really wanted Karls, I think they would look to trade down. The other thing is that word going around is that they want a right-handed complement to Sam Dickinson. And I know they got Michael Kesselring, but Kesselring is not a top pairing guy. I think they would want a right-handed top pairing defenseman going forward. And I think that's where Reed comes into play. He's a right-handed shot. I think Reed's offense is far better than Karls, even though Karls is underrated offensively. I just wonder how much of his offense can really translate to the NHL level, because I think while the hands are good and there are times that he shows you flashes of creativity where he can pull off like backhanded toe drag moves or goals, and you're like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? But overall, I see him more as a north-south kind of keep things simple type of guy with his offense at that next level. But I think Reed would be the guy that they would want to come in and have him complement Dickinson. And Dickinson, I know a lot of people focused on his offensive numbers. He kind of broke out in his draft year, but Dickinson's really kind of more of a two-way guy. And I think he really projects as more of that type of guy going forward. I think Reed would be a real good compliment to him. So that's why I think they're either taking Reed or they're trading down. I personally don't see anything else. I've been wrong before. If I'm wrong again, whatever, dude.
All right. Well, Evan, number 3. This now brings up a huge decision with a big name out there. And you figured one guy was already penciled in there. I'll see to you. Who are the Vancouver Canucks taking at number 3?
It really is interesting because if this is the scenario that happens on draft night where Stenberg is available at 3, I really don't know how, if you're Vancouver, you pass up on him. But I just have this feeling that they're going to end up taking Malhotra either way. That's who I have going here, which still wouldn't be the worst case scenario for Vancouver. I mean, I obviously think Stenberg is a better player, but we see it all the time in the draft that teams value centers a lot more than they value guys on the wing. And on top of that, obviously his dad's the coach, which, you know, Vancouver's pretty much the West Coast version of the Rangers. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go Nepo in that regard, but you're still getting a guy that plays a pretty good two-way game. My ceiling comparison for him would probably be a guy like Nick Suzuki, and the floor for him, for me, would probably be like an Anthony Cirelli type. He's plays a really good two-way game, wins a lot of puck battles, and he has that good playmaking ability. The things that I really want to see him improve upon, though, is definitely his skating. And another concern is how much of his production this past season was from being on a stacked team. But at the same time, if you want to counter that, he did lead his team in playoff production in the OHL. So remains to be seen in that regard. But yeah, I mean, if he could improve his skating, put on a bit of muscle, I think that maybe you're looking at a very safe pick here in terms of a guy that could be a second line center on a cup caliber team. But yeah, that's a pick, which again, it would be very tough to pass up Stenberg, and I think they'd be wrong for passing up Stenberg here. But I just think there's too much smoke at this point for Malhotra to go 3 for them to look elsewhere.
Which brings us to number 4. And Steven, the Chicago Blackhawks drafted a Swede last year. Would that make them a shoo-in to draft another one, or are they going to seek defensive help?
Well, before Carson Karels went second overall, I was leaning a defenseman for the Chicago Blackhawks, but with Stenberg there at 4, how do you not take him, right? He has probably the highest floor of these top prospects. I think he either tied or broke the record for points in the SHL by draft eligible player, carried his country to gold in the World Juniors, was a top line player in the World Championships. He's just overall a really impressive player, has a really high ceiling. The offense is there, is a really good two-way player. It's with Stenberg there at 4, the Chicago Blackhawks will take Ivar Stenberg with their first round pick.
Yeah. And again, that is just an amazing development that we've had already. We're going to take some time to talk about this pick, because this pick is now going to be thought about, hopefully not for years to come, but that's what will happen. Phil, start us off. The New York Rangers now at number 5 select.
Wow. At that point, I don't think I could walk away from this pick and not make this pick. And I think they would run up to the podium and run away. I think they would take Chase Reed. I do believe it would be Chase Reed. I know he's a right shot guy and they would be behind Adam Fox, but I do believe that would be the guy that they would take. We've heard smoke about them wanting puck movers. They want puck movers. I would be torn personally between Reed and Smits. I think Smits would be a great pick here too. I do think that they want a top end puck mover who can really move it. I know Vigo Bjork would also be a pick a lot of people would want to make. I don't personally see them making it and taking that pick there. I know Matt's shaking his head. Everybody wants Bjork, but I mean there are some shortcomings on Bjork that might prevent him from being that top end playmaker. He has to. I'm sorry, but he's got to work on his skating. He's got to work on his skating, especially at that smaller stature. Again, is he a Marco Rossi or is he someone better than that? So I just think that there is a higher possibility that Chase Reed becomes better in his position than Vigo Bjork becomes at his. I think Vigo Bjork is skilled. I think he's super talented, but I just think that at the end of the day, Bjork is not what the Rangers are looking at. I know that there's, they like him. I think that's smokescreen.
That's playing pretend.
I think if Reed was available at 5, there is no way that they are not taking Reed. Even though I personally like Schmitz. The one thing that I would worry about with Schmitz is his offense translating at the next level. That's really what it is for me. I think the shooting needs improvement. I think he's an incredible skater for his size. Like, not even just for his size. I think he's a very good skater overall. I don't think. No, I kind of disagree with this. From everything that I've watched on Vigo Bjork, the skating is really not all that great. He's got a great motor, which kind of deceives people into believing that he's a great skater. And I mean, as a forechecker and someone like his off the puck play is great. Like his anticipation's great. He puts himself in the right spots offensively and defensively. Is he ever going to be a Selke caliber player? No, I don't think Bjork will ever be anywhere close to that. But he is above average in his own zone. He is well above average as a forechecker, but he is not a burner by any means. And I'm not saying everyone has to be a burner, but I do believe at that size that they are going to take a look at that and say, oh, wow, this guy's not a great skater and he's pretty small. They're going to shy away from it. So that's why I think if Reed's available, they're running up there and then they're making that pick and they're running back to their seats before anybody can say anything about it. So
just before I throw this off to you, Matt, and everybody's going to get their words on this, but like one thing that was kind of a point that people were making, Phil, you were talking about shortcomings with Bjork, literally that he's short. He's 5'9". And when was the last time a player 5'9" was drafted in the top 5 of the NHL draft? I mean, we're going to have to look at that and try to find it. It's been a while. So, Matt, the Rangers take Chase Reed. What are your thoughts?
I mean, look, is it better than the guy that I don't want, Keaton Verhoff? Absolutely. I'm just, again, I'm not a big Chase Reed guy. Again, just from looking at some of the film and some of the what's it called? Like I said, from some of the film, some of the highlights I've watched. Listen, again, if they take him, cool. I'm not really, going to over complain. There are a couple of other guys though that I would take over Reed. Specifically, for me, I would take the risk on a Bjork. I would even take the risk on going with a guy like Smits over him. To me, again, as long as they don't take Verhoff at 5, like I'm pretty much cool with anyone they take at 5.
Evan, who did you want at 5, and how's this pick looking?
The guy that I really want is Smits. I mean, I'll understand if they make this pick, but I wouldn't be thrilled because I think Smits is the better player personally. I'm not as high on Reed, and I also think just from a fit-wise, I'm not a fan of the Rangers taking Reed because he is not going to get power play one time over Adam Fox. And the whole point of getting a Chase Reed is because of the fact that he can chip in offensively, and you are pretty much negating some of that by not having him on the first power play unit, and he's going to be sitting behind Adam Fox. Like, to me, I think Smits is better both fit-wise and player-wise. But I also understand where, because the consensus, I would understand why they make this pick. But based on what we've heard about Smits and potentially being linked to the Rangers, like, to me, it makes way more sense to go in that direction. And I don't agree with the Smits not having any sort of offense like MJ is saying. And I think he could be a top pair guy. I don't agree with the whole he's just a second pair guy thing. We just saw him not only compete with men overseas, we saw him compete in the World Juniors. We saw him compete in the Olympics, and he did not look out of place in any of those competitions at all. To me, I think that he is being completely undervalued right now in this draft. But again, like, I get why Philk is saying if Reed falls here, the Rangers would run to the podium because, like I said before, that's what the consensus is. I just wouldn't agree with the pick. That's just me.
All right. I'm gonna before we go to Steven, I'm gonna hop in here real quick. Sorry, I gotta address this. He's not playing top role minutes in where he is. Like guys like that at that age playing in men's leagues do not get put in situations where they are running power plays, where they are being utilized as offensive weapons. Like he is being, I don't want to say hidden, kind of like how the Russian Super League used to do with guys like Datsuk and Ovechkin and throw them on third and fourth lines so that teams couldn't get good looks at them and they wouldn't draft them years ago. But Albert Schmitz is not, he's not being used as a number one power play quarterback. Like that's just not how it is. Like he was a really good player at the World Juniors and the Worlds and the Olympics. I just wonder about his finishing ability offensively. I think his shooting, while he has a big, heavy shot, I think that his shot selection sometimes baffles me because he'll shoot into lanes that are already blocked. He'll miss the net way too often for my liking. I do think that he's NHL ready, but I don't think he contributes in any type of way offensively right now. Let him go cook in a men's league in Europe, or bring him over and let him develop in the AHL. And I think in a few years, especially with him working on his shooting and everything, you can really get a guy that I think can be quite the offensive contributor on a top pairing. But with that said, if he's playing next to Adam Fox, is the offense really going to run through him?
No, and that's the thing. You don't need it to run through him. Where with Chase Reed as well, like I still have concerns personally about how his game's going to translate when he has less time and space playing against higher competition.
No, he's not another Braden Schneider. He's way better than Braden Schneider.
Schneider sucks balls. Don't compare Schmitz.
Not only that, but another thing I love about Schmitz is the fact that he is excellent at closing out gaps. And not just closing the gaps, but he will absolutely run over anyone who comes near him. And he, unlike a Tomas Klocek for you older Ranger fans, he won't take himself out of position to do so. Like he's really good at being in the right area to be able to step up and make the plays to make those big hits and put himself in the right position for those. So, all right. Well, I'm not going to highlight Carson's comment just because it's a little graphic, but I do believe that there is a possibility that Chris Drury could fall in love with that size. And that
by the way, Phil, for the younger Ranger fans, you mentioned Tomas Klocek. You could also mention Jacob Trouba, who did that a lot. Steven, let's get your thoughts on this. And I'm assuming you don't have the scouting report line sucks balls as the way Matt just said it.
No, like the Carson Carl's pick really threw everything for a loop, right? So the Sharks really made everyone go through their folders at the draft. I love Viggo Bjork. I think Viggo Bjork is bigger than 5'9". He was listed as 5'11" in the SHL. I don't know how you go from 5'11" to 5'9" in the span of 9 months. I don't really take those measurements too serious. It's probably somewhere in the middle. 5'10", he was standing next to Sidney Crosby. He didn't look shorter than Sidney Crosby when they met in the green room after playing each other in the Worlds. What I like about Viggo Bjork is that despite being shorter than 6 foot, he has the hockey sense that you want out of a top player, right? It's not always about being the fastest player on the ice. It's about leaving on time so you get to where you need to be on time. And Viggo Bjork does it really well in a men's league in Sweden, which after the exodus of players in the KHL is now the second best league in the world. Like, I will gladly have that argument with anyone who disagrees, but he did that for Sweden. He played for Sweden in the World Championships too, and of course the World Juniors. When you draft fifth overall, personally, unless someone really stands out on defense, you go with the best forward available, because you have a much easier job finding a defenseman late in the first round than you have finding a really good forward late in the first round. Now, that said, with Carson Carroll's off the board, Chase Reed falling out of the top 4, it's hard to not go with Chase Reed.
Yeah. And again, that's where we talk about where guys getting drafted a little bit ahead of what people are projecting suddenly change everything, sort of like the way Beckett Seneca changed things last 2 years ago. I mean, but Matt, going to number 6 in the Calgary Flames, who are they going to take?
I think the Flames right now are in a pretty good position, and when you look at their entire roster right now, they need a little bit of everything, because their center core, when you look at it, not great, Big Cat, and their defensive core ain't great either. So with that pick, I'm going over to Sweden, and with the 6th pick, the Calgary Flames will select Viggo Bjork. And obviously, Steven just touched on Bjork a little bit. I think we all did, but Bjork, to me, I really like him. I think, his shot is pretty good. I think he's, pretty good passer overall. Yes?
We have breaking news. The Devils are trading Simone Nemec to Calgary. I wonder if this has something to do with their pick. I hate to wonder, because I know you guys love the Wanderer, but there's been no return, no confirmation on the return yet. So I'm wondering if that 6th pick is involved.
It could be, because then maybe the 12th pick is involved also from New Jersey's end to go the other way.
So do we have the whole jingle of we have a trade to announce?
We will. Actually, you know what? You guys are going to see these graphics.
Elliot Freeman tweeted it. Nemec and Siplikov for 2nd-round pick, the Rangers pick. Vegas is first, 2027. Colorado's first, 2028. Both top 10 protected and a prospect.
Wow.
Actually, you'll see them on draft night. I took them out of there, but usually whenever we did the trade for the trade deadline, I had to shake hands. But there will be the graphics for a trade was announced or the pick is in.
So Calgary gets their defenseman. So the Viggo Bjork pick stands then, right?
Yeah, the Viggo Bjork pick does stand then. But yeah, like I was saying about Bjork, let's see, where's my notes? Here we go. I like his shot, great passer. I know Phil said the skating it does have to improve, and I agree. I don't think he's the best skater. I definitely do think that his engine and his ability to get on the forecheck, I think it definitely does mask a little bit of the skating. I don't think he's as bad as a skater, but I definitely do think there will have to be some improvements to be made. And as long as he doesn't end up in an organization like the Rangers, I think, he'll end up, working on his skating, and that will end up, being fixed. I like his two-way game a lot. He's a very smart player. Like I said, high level of compete, high motor. The only, weaknesses that, like I saw that stood out to me, he could over stick handle sometimes, which again happens with a skilled player. He'll try to do a little bit too much, but I think, again, experience, I think that will eventually, that experience and playing over here, I think that eventually will help him with, in terms of over playmaking and stuff. And then, like I said, the strength. A little bit on the shorter end, so he's definitely going to have to bulk up a little bit. But, yeah, I think Viggo Bjork would be a very good pick for the Flames here at 6.
And we definitely could throw in a bunch of Ghostbusters 2 references with him. Now it's party time for Viggo. And also that he's slightly tall, bigger than the baby that he was trying to possess as well. Anyway, Evan, going to number 7, we have the Seattle Kraken. Who do you got going there?
Just one last thing about this trade. Man, I wish the Rangers were rebuilding. If Nemec is getting 2 first, Fox would get the ball. But nonetheless, Keaton Vierhoff is such a Seattle Kraken. Like, that just reeks of a Kraken pick. They are obsessed with players like this. It's interesting because it's really going to come down with Vierhoff if a team could unlock some of the tools that could be there in his game, because he has a great shot. He plays physical, and he has a decent IQ. He has the tools to be a solid player. It's just a matter of if, again, they could unlock that. Apparently, I didn't even know this until today that he was playing with a foot injury throughout the entire year. That was news to me when I found that out. So I wonder how much that hampered his play. But the skating is a really big concern, even with the foot injury. Sometimes as well, he makes a lot of poor decisions with the puck. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if Seattle's going to be the team that could unlock him. But I have this feeling that, because we preface that we're going to go with what we think the teams are going to do, and Veerhoff feels like a Kraken pick to me.
All right. Let's go now to number 8, which is the Winnipeg Jets. Steven, who do you got going there?
So the Winnipeg Jets are an organization that I think could definitely use some help on the defensive side in their organization. You know, they are in a weird spot now where they had a bad season because Hellebuck was out injured. There's some talk about Hellebuck maybe being on the way out. But when you look at their defensive core, their defensive core that they currently have under contract, they're all aging. They don't have that many defensive prospects in their system, so they have to go with a defenseman. Now, it's the obvious pick, of course, is Albert Smith, but Malte Gustafsson is a guy that also ticks a lot of boxes for a team like the Winnipeg Jets. You know, they have experience with drafting players from Sweden. You know, he's a left-handed guy. He's a big guy. He's really good defensively, good shutdown defenseman. Also doesn't shy away from the physical side of the game. And the question marks about Albert Smith's game have been highlighted, even though he's a really talented defenseman. I think that they would rather go for a guy who plays in the Swedish system, who, played for Sweden under 20 and has really stepped up this season and is on the rise. So with the 8th pick in the NHL draft, the Winnipeg Jets select Malte Gustafsson.
All right.
Yeah, really good pick.
Yeah,
that is an incredible value pick right there. Because I actually thought for sure you were going to say Albert Smith, so I got to fix that. All right. Anybody have any other thoughts on this pick about Smith starting to drop a little bit more?
I think he's going to be incredible value for whatever team's able to snap him up in the 9, 10, 11 range.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I like Gustafsson. I think he's one of the more safer and more projectable picks. I don't see him as a top pairing guy. Maybe if you want to have him as a complement. I kind of disagree with him about his physical play. Like, I hate to make this type of comparison, but he reminds me a little bit of like Carl Gunnarsson, someone like that.
I haven't heard that name in a while. Wow.
Like someone like a bigger version of him, maybe slightly more physical, but like just a very safe type defender. But like I can understand why somebody would try to take a shot on him. Because at 6'4" and like 200, I believe he's between 210 and 215 now, from what I've heard. Like there is a package there. But I don't know if I could see them taking Gustafsson over Smith.
Okay. Well, I think Phil just did Phil just go out for a second? Or no, there he is.
Sorry.
All right. So Phil, at number 9, who does Ottawa? Did I skip somebody?
No, we're on.
We're good. We're on for us. All right. Phil, at number 9, who do the Ottawa Senators take?
So,
Do they make this pick?
Do they make that? I mean, that's a thing. Do they make this pick?
That's a good question too.
I don't know if I would want to go Schmitz there because they've got Shabbat, they've got Sanderson. I mean, they could move Spence, and that could be. But do they?
Could I jump in for a second here and say,
share your thoughts. Go ahead, bud.
This is where I wish the Rangers would have took Bjork at 5, because if the board shook out this way and Smits was there, I'm sorry, I am driving Lafreniere to Ottawa for Spence and this 9th pick to go get Smits as well at this 9th pick.
I could see why you would want to do that. Yeah.
Dave typing it too. The Rangers could make this pick. If they could get the 9th pick for Lafreniere.
I don't know. I mean, I do think there is another level to Lafreniere. I do wonder whether or not he can achieve that in New York. I liked what I saw at the end of last year with that Zibanejad, Perreault, Lafreniere line, but I do wonder about his mental maturity. I wonder if he's willing to do what it takes. I don't know if I can go Daxon Rudolph here. I do wonder, though, they just dealt away a big, powerful winger. I think I would go with Ethan Belchetz here if I were them. I know it's kind of high, but I do think that he could be their Brady Tkachuk replacement.
I was about to say that, Phil. He fits that Brady Tkachuk mold of, a big guy, forward, scores, goes to the net, pain in the ass to play against. Yep.
Yeah, and I do think that I think his playmaking is underrated. When I watched him personally, I know that the skating needs a little work. I would even say that he needs a little work on his balance and his edges, but this is a guy that comes in and he can just absolutely run over people. He uses his size and his range effectively to disrupt passing lanes. He's got a NHL level shot right now. His shot's ridiculous. It's ridiculously good. Even though he doesn't have that separation, acceleration, and that real explosiveness, I think you can get a power skating coach to really unlock that out of him. I don't know if he'll ever be like a Chris Kreider type with his explosiveness, but he does use his hedges and his crossovers well to really gather speed. But he'll go to the dirty areas and he'll run guys over and stuff like that. And I just think his playmaking is underrated. His playmaking is really, really underrated, I do think. I don't think he gets enough credit for being as good of a playmaker as he really is. I'm not saying he's I don't know, an Ivar Stenberg or a Gavin McKenna in terms of playmaking, but he is for a guy who's looked at as a goal-scoring power forward, his playmaking is a lot better than people will ever give him credit for. So I do think this is where he could kind of step in and fit and kind of replace Brady Tkachuk. I think it's too obvious for me. I don't know. I don't know how they pass it up.
I mean, my eyes shot open when I saw 6'5", 229. 20 years ago in the NHL, that would guarantee that he'd be drafted this high. Wow. And yeah, I could see what Phil's saying about him possibly replacing Tkachuk. Going to number 10 in the National Predators, Matt, who do you got?
Well, Chris McFarland, the newest GM and president of hockey operations for the National Predators. I think if this pans out for him, I think he'll be a very happy man on draft night. Because when you look at their D-core, Nashville definitely needs a little bit of help defensively. And that's why with the 10th pick, they are going with the Latvian-born defenseman, Albert Schmitz. And listen, I think if this happens for Nashville, I think they are running and screaming and being so happy on draft night because Schmitz, to me, listen, you look at their decor right now, you get Nick Hague off that second pair because Nick Hague is terrible, and you go get Schmitz, who's an actually good, talented defenseman, and he could either be that second pair guy or maybe even possibly, work his way up at one point to maybe be a number one pair guy in his career. But what I like about Schmitz, He's a good skater, very good positioning in the D zone, very good defensive stick, as Phil said before, very good with his gap control, very good passer as well, very comfortable skating with the puck as well, retrievals, has very good vision when he's skating up the ice with the puck. The only type of weaknesses, though, I do have for him when I, looked at some of his film, I definitely strength. I think he's definitely got to get a little bit stronger, which again, he'll come over. He'll work with nutritionists. He'll get in the weight room. He'll definitely bulk up on his strength, physicality as well. Again, like Phil said, shooting definitely needs a little bit of work on. The other thing that I did notice with Schmitz's game, though, which can be a positive and a negative too, is that he loves to pinch a lot. And I think over in the European leagues, I think you can get away with that a lot. But in the NHL, he's definitely going to have to tone back some of his pinching. Now, I like I said, I think it's a good thing that he does like to pinch, and he does love to get involved in the offensive play. But if he overdoes it in the NHL, you could see him, be on the ice, and that could be a cause for a lot of goals against. So, like I said, I think he'll work on that. I think, when he's working with other coaches and other, development systems, I think, he'll be able to work on that, and he'll be a little bit smarter with his pinches. But again, if he falls to number 10, I think Chris McFarland and the Nashville Predators will be very happy with this pick.
Yeah, and now we have number 11, a team that's going to be drafting 3 times Friday night in the first round, and that's the St. Louis Blues. So, Evan, who's the first one the Blues are going to take?
I kind of teased yesterday what I think about this pick. I think Tynan Lawrence is going to be the pick, and I do want to apologize because before I said Veeroff was the one with the injury, I was thinking of Lawrence, the other project player in the draft. Tynan Lawrence was the one that was playing with an injury this past year. So, like I said, Veeroff, who knows how much it hampered his play, but they might trade Robert Thomas. Why not get potentially a guy that could be Robert Thomas light in the building, a guy that plays with a high motor. He's a high IQ player. The thing really is that I noticed with him is he's kind of just average at everything. And that's where I wonder, what tools could really be, could he excel at the next level? Because he's going to have to excel at something. Otherwise, you're probably looking at a guy that's nothing more than a third line center on a true contending team. But he does have those tools because, again, the IQ is there and he does play a good two-way game.
All right. And then now going to the New Jersey Devils, who made the big news, Steven, just minutes ago, that they landed 2 first-round picks for Nemec in 27 and 28, plus a little bit more. But who do the Devils take?
Yeah, for the Devils, it kind of opens up, for the future, a spot on their defense. I think the Devils could use anything, to be honest, when it comes to positions. But with the way the draft has played out so far, the New Jersey Devils will select Daxon Rudolph from the Prince Albert Raiders in the WHL. Really good offensive defenseman. There's, of course, some work that needs to be done on the skating, but the way he handles the puck and moves the puck, I think he has a lot of upside offensively for a team that on the blue line definitely could use some offense in the years to come.
All right, I'm going to get that updated. Next goes to number 13 in the New York Islanders. Phil, who would that be?
What's funny is I thought that maybe there would be a world where Steven would have said Ryan Lynn, because I really do think that New Jersey could use a right shot defenseman with a very, very high hockey IQ. But so could the New York Islanders, funny enough. This is where the draft really starts to open up for me, because there's a bunch of guys that I could take for the Islanders here. The Islanders, I honestly, I think they need centers. I think they need wingers too. Honestly, I'm going to go off the board here a little bit, I think, though.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Nikita Klepov. I think if the Islanders need someone who can score. They need a guy that has a great shot, that is a top-notch finisher, that is a dynamic offensive player. And I know there might be word that they may trade for Jordan Kyrou. There's been a lot of smoke around that. Jordan Kyrou would help. But Nikita Klepov would be a great pick here for them. And maybe a few spots higher than some are predicting that he would go, but not completely off the board. And I think the Islanders are in a position where they need to start adding players with higher ceilings as opposed to safer, more projectable picks. That's just me, and they've kind of had a history of doing that. Outside of Matthew Schaefer, who a lot of people said that he would have went number 1 overall without even an argument had he not been hurt for the majority of his draft year when he got hurt at the World Juniors. So I would love to see that. If I'm an Islander fan, I would love to see Klepov. I know there are concerns about his skating. I think his skating is above average. Do I think it's NHL average right now? No. I think there needs to be work. I think Klepov's ceiling is higher than Hemming's. That's just me. I think Klepov's ceiling is higher. I think he has a chance to be possibly at his very best a top line winger. And that's what I think. I think Hemming is probably a little safer, a little more projectable. But again, Klepov for me, the one-timer. You add that to the Islanders' power play, that could really help fix that power play. And then you have a guy that can really – he's got incredible hands, man. He can make those shifty little moves in tight and get to the tight areas and score goals. And he honestly – he's got a lot more sandpaper than anyone gives credit to. Like, he does not mind getting his nose dirty. He really doesn't. So I think the Islanders would like that aspect of him too. For me, kind of reminds me of a guy like Kyle Palmieri, but a little more dynamic.
Okay. Well, because then, you know what, that really, like you said, it really opens up everything. So then looking at 14, Matt, who does Columbus take then? You got Wyatt Cullen on the board, Ryan Lynn on the board, Alexander Command. I mean, who are you thinking?
Yeah, I think looking at Columbus, there are a couple ways they can go with this. I think they'll probably at this point just take probably the best player on the board. To be fair, though, I think when you look at their wingers, they could maybe use a future, third line winger, maybe, like a middle six winger. So that's why I'll go with the player from the U.S. developmental program. I'll go with Wyatt Cullen at 14 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I think this would be a pretty good pick for them at 14. I mean, just looking from looking at my notes that I had about him, I'm going to pull them up. The thing that I liked about him, good hands, very good skater, very good edge work as well, is able to, to really, carry the puck up the ice at an efficient rate. Playmaking, again, I thought he was a very solid playmaker, good passer. The only stuff that I think he needs to work on is turnovers, but again, because he is a playmaker, he loves to carry the puck up the ice naturally. There will be turnovers, but I think, eventually when he gets in, that will eventually be, worked out of his game. Defensive play, though, needs a lot of help, because there are a lot of the times where he's very kind of lazy a little bit in the defensive zone. Not the greatest defensive positioning. He definitely does need some help in terms of, and does need to do a better job, in terms of covering the points in the D zone, and also his physicality. His physicality and his strength needs a little bit of work for me. But I think why call it at 14? I think that'd be a pretty good pick for Columbus.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about his defense. Sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
I think it's sort of like a Kent Johnson replacement. He reminds me a lot of Kent Johnson. Like the hands are unbelievable. Like this guy's a highlight reel with his moves. Like he one-on-one in terms of like pure hands and dangling and moves. Like there may not be a better forward in the draft with that. I agree with you with the turnovers. I would like to see more of a compete level from him, which is surprising considering who his father was and how good his compete level was.
Yeah, because I was going to say that, because his father, Matt, former New York Ranger, former Stanley Cup winner with Carolina and the Pittsburgh Penguins. He'll help him out with that defense as he gets older, but his offense looks like it's going to surpass his dad's by a long shot. Evan, that brings us to 15, and I promise you're not going to draft the St. Louis Blues all night, but this is the second St. Louis Blues pick that goes to you. Who do you got?
Thank you for taking Wyatt Cullen off the board because that made this a lot easier for me. To me, if St. Louis could walk away from the draft with Tynan Lawrence and Xavier Villeneuve, that would be a really good draft because Xavier Villeneuve is like, as much as I love Albert Smith, my favorite defenseman, and I'm not saying he's ranked first, I'm saying my favorite defenseman is Villeneuve because I think he easily has the highest upside of this draft class and could be the steal of the draft. It's just one of those things where GMs are going to pass on him because of the fact that he hasn't filled out his frame height and weight wise, but he has a really high IQ. And when you watch this kid play, you just see Lane Hudson light.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
that's
Hudson,
what you see with the way that he walks the blue line, the lateral movement, the straight line skating, loves to join the rush, loves to go end to end. Yeah, I mean, the offensive skills are unbelievable. The one concern that you have is you wish, and this would come with him filling out his frame more, you wish you saw him use the body a little bit more in the defensive end because he does rely a lot on using his stick in the defensive zone.
Agreed.
But that's one of those things where he's going to put on muscle, and who knows, maybe he does put on a little bit more height as well, and he's going to be a really good defenseman. Again, St. Louis, if you get Tynan Lawrence and Villeneuve, a lot of upside with both these guys, and I'd be very happy if I was a Blues fan and that was who we walked away with in the draft.
He also was hurt a bit, and I do think that in terms of pure dynamicism, like he is the most dynamic defenseman in this draft, like by far. Like when I watch him, like there are so many times where he pulls off spinoramas that look like the dudes that are facing him are going to need ankle surgery. Like he is absolutely tearing guys' ankles apart with his moves and just the finish, like the toe drag and release. Like his shots, like pretty damn good. Like it's not the best, but I think if once he adds muscle, that shot's going to get so much better. And that's going to be a guy that I think could put up, I don't know, 65 to 80 points at the NHL level if he pans out.
Yeah, 100%. His ceiling is Lane Hudson.
I agree.
Wow. All right. That's already a good comparison to have. And speaking about Lane Hudson, where his brother is right now is the Washington Capitals at the halfway point of the first round. What do you got here, Steven?
Yeah, for the Washington Capitals, I'm in a bit of a crossroads here because there are two players that I think would fit the organization really well. There's Ilya Morozov, who is a Russian center, big guy, very mature in his game, good two-way guy. Reminds me a lot of Ilya Protas, who they also have in the organization at age 19, of course. And then Ryan Lynn, who for an organization that's very thin on defensive prospects would fill a huge need for the Washington Capitals. So the Capitals use the full 2 minutes they get at the table to discuss it, but in the end, they will go with Ryan Lynn of the Vancouver Giants in the WHL.
I like it.
All right. And
I would say, like, when I watch him, the first guy that pops out to me, like in terms of like a comparison, I see a lot of Adam Fox in him. Not the greatest skater, but like sells deception very well. His edge work is great. Not the greatest shot, but gets the puck on net regularly, like with ease. And a guy that's just very smart at both ends of the ice. His passing is unbelievable. I just think that he would be a perfect fit for him, Steven.
I did see someone compare him to calling him a bigger Jared Spurgeon. which
That I've seen too, yeah.
with the way he plays, I could also see some Mackenzie Weegar in him. I think overall the toolbox, there's so many routes he can go as a defenseman. He's so good defensively, but he moves the puck really well, and the deceptive way of his movements, I think, is going to make it hard on opponents to read him. He's a guy that if he pans out, and that's always a question mark where once you get away from the top 5 in a draft, right? If he pans out, he and Lane Hudson could really be stalwarts on that blue line for the Washington Capitals for the next decade. That's a scary thought as fans of a team that's in their division.
Wow, and that is amazing. And there's a possibility they might get that second player you were talking about. But first, let's go to pick number 17. Clearly, that belongs to the New York Rangers. They got the Artemi Panarin trade. Oh, wait, they have Chris Drury as the negotiator. They didn't even come close to that. So, Phil, the LA Kings at number 17 have their first round pick, and they are drafting.
There's a couple different ways you could go with this. I mean, I looked at a couple of different guys. Like you have your Adam Novotny's. Villanova would have been great here. Tommy Blale, with Drew Doughty getting up there in age, would be an incredible pick. I've seen people likening him to like a Torrey Krug type, which would be like really good for LA. They could use that. Seen Alexander Command's name come up. Oscar Hemming has been mentioned. I wonder if they would go with this pick sucks because there's just so many guys that you could go with here. You know what? I think maybe here's where you go with Oscar Hemming. Maybe here's, I think, where you go with Hemming. I do think that he would be a nice pick with them. Got good size, good motor, decent two-way player. I wonder how high the ceiling actually is with him. Is he more of a middle six guy, or is he a legitimate top six forward? I feel like I could say that about a lot of the guys at this point. But I really do wonder about him, and I like the player. I could have said Oliver Savanto, funny enough, because they have gone with Finnish centers in the past. But I just think that Hemming is probably a safe pick here. And I know that you may not necessarily want to go with a safe pick, but I think his game is very projectable at the next level. So I think LA might be attracted to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because then we're going to go right back to the Washington Capitals. And as Steven was saying before, he was a little bit torn between a couple prospects. But Matt, who do you think they're going to take right here?
I was torn between two wingers, but Philk made my decision a lot easier because he took Oscar Hemming, which was one of the wingers that I was debating. So, since Steven went with Ryan Lynn with the 16th pick, naturally, Washington will go with the forward here. And I think looking at the future, I definitely do think they'll need a couple wingers, specifically with Ovi retiring soon. Bavilla will probably end up moving on in a couple years as well. So that's why with the 18th pick in the NHL draft, the Washington Capitals will select from the Peterborough Petes, Adam Novotny.
Okay.
And looking at some of Novotny's, from last time when I was watching him, very good skater. He has very good separation speed. That's one of the things I really like about him. He also reads the game well. He also reads the game very well as well, because a lot of times when you look at his play in the defensive zone, he's always in the right spaces. In the offensive zone, he's always creating space for himself. He's always able to get open. High motor as well. Has a lot of compete. Good shot, good passer. The only things, though, I think he needs to work on, though, turnovers, because naturally he's a guy that likes to carry the puck up the ice, so he will turn the puck over a couple of times. Not the greatest of hands. doesn't have the greatest angle, so I definitely think he'll need to work on that aspect. And third, again, his strength. But again, I think naturally he'll get in the gym. He'll put on a little bit of muscle. But I think Novotny at 18 to go along with Ryan Lynn at 16, I think that would be a very good first round for the Capitals.
Yeah, I definitely would say so. And you're going to take that because you're going to run. You look at those numbers: 6'1", 205. And last year he had 34 goals with Peterborough. So going over to Evan, who's Utah going to take at number 19?
I hate this because Utah is so unpredictable with the draft. Like
Sinishev, boo.
yeah, they're always, even when they drafted Butt a few years ago, like he went earlier than people thought. I don't feel good about making this projected pick because, again, you can't predict with Utah. They always go off the board, but I'm going to go with Alexander Command. I just think that he is the kind of player that Utah would like because he does remind me a bit of Lawson Krause a little bit with the way that he plays. He's probably going to be a third-line center in the league. I don't know how much higher the ceiling is than that because he does show flashes of good offensive play, but it's nothing really that's too consistent to where I just don't see a guy that's anything more in the third liner because he does have the compete in the motor. He plays more physical than his size indicates as well. Plays a good two-way game in my opinion, but again, I question how high the ceiling is.
Yeah.
Mark, you muted.
This is a guy that, like, he's tough to pinpoint exactly where he's going to go. Like, some people got him going higher, some people got him going lower. I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint it myself. But Steven, the Buffalo Sabres traded up to get to the 20th pick on this one. Who would they take with this pick?
Yeah, they gave up Michael Kesselring to trade up. What is it, 10, 12 spots in the draft?
I think
7, I think.
Or 7?
Six,
Oh, okay. I thought it was a little more than that, but yeah, the Buffalo Sabres coming off their most successful season in 2 decades, of course. Last year, they drafted some players who weren't even born yet the last time they won a playoff series. So that's no longer the case. They have a couple of players who are on their way out. They could use help in pretty much any department, but I think for the Buffalo Sabres, the guy that makes sense is one of the youngest guys in the draft, a center who plays in the Finnish league, and that's Oliver Suvanto, who might not have the highest ceiling, but he has a really high floor. And I think the Buffalo Sabres, with their picks right now, they just want to make sure they get someone who will play for them. And the way Suvanto plays, it kind of fits their mold, in my opinion. He's a guy that could really fit their system well. So he is their pick with their first rounder they got from San Jose.
Yeah, and
about Savanto before for the pick for LA. That's what I was mentioning, kind of the Rasmus Kupari pick. So.
Yeah, Rasmus Kupari was who I was thinking of when you mentioned Suvanto for the Kings. Yep. Yeah, I was thinking of Morozov too, but the Buffalo Sabres don't really strike me as a team that wants to take a risk on a Russian. Yeah, there were so many good options here. I think the next pick for who's the next pick?
Philadelphia.
the Philadelphia Flyers.
Philadelphia Flyers with their next pick will have a tough decision too.
So, Phil, what would the Flyers do right here?
There are so many different ways that they could go with this. I know that there are a couple of guys that I look at. I think this might be a little too early, but Maddox Dagenet kind of strikes me as a guy that could be a potential Flyer. I like the size. I like the physical play. I think he could fit that mold. I don't know if they would want to take him as early as that. I've seen him mocked anywhere from 21 to like the end of the round. One of the rucks could make a lot of sense here. They need center help. Would they move on from Matvey Michkov this early? Because, like, if so, I hate this pick. There's too many guys that
You know, this is the reason why they actually need a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah, I don't like being in this position right now because, I mean, could they go with someone with like Elton Hermanson, like who could be a high risk, high upside type pick? I don't know if they would want to do that with Michkov and the troubles that they've had with Michkov so far. JP Herbert, like, could he be? I don't know if they would take defense right now. I don't know if they need defense really. Otherwise, Tommy Blale would be perfect for them. You know what? I'm going to go with I think I'm going to go here with Ilya Morozov.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think Morozov really just – I think they need help at center. I do. I think they need help at center, and they need a guy that could come in and possibly be a middle six guy. I think maybe Trevor Zegers might be their number one center, going forward. They need center help. I think if they didn't have the depth that they have on the wings right now, Herbert or Hermanson would literally be like the perfect fit for them. But I do think Morozov's size, there is some skill there. Responsible two-way game. I know Russians don't exactly strike as that type, but I feel like he could come in and help Philly in a lot of different areas.
And by the way, I'm sorry. He was at it has him listed. I thought it had it listed as Medicine Hat, but he was Miami of Ohio.
No, he's committed to Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. So there we go. He's right now Miami of Ohio. All right. So now we're down to the final 11 picks right here. Matt, Pittsburgh Penguins, they're going to be taking a pick that was actually theirs, and the Rangers didn't accidentally gift to them. So what do you got right here, number 22?
Yeah, I think for Pittsburgh, I think this is a simple pick. I think when you look at their decor, I know a couple of the guys are going to start to age out. Letang's up there in age, 39 years old. He's going to retire soon. Same with Carlson at 36. So I think they will be going with the defensive route. And similarly, in the mold of Letang and Carlson, they'll be looking at more of an offensive defenseman type. So that's why with the 22nd pick in the NHL draft, the Pittsburgh Penguins will select from the Moncton Wildcats, Tommy Blyle. And looking at Blyle's... that was going to be your next pick, my bad.
No,
I was
he wasn't going to be my next pick, but I want the Rangers to draft him.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say I was hoping he'd fall to the Rangers.
Yeah, I would hope that he would fall too. But looking at Blyle from some of the notes I have on him, really good skater, strong edge work, again, is able to carry the puck up the ice, good vision, playmaking, again, everything you need in the offensive defenseman. The only weaknesses for me, I saw from him, strength, again, he'll work on that. Turnovers, because he's an offensive defenseman. He loves to move the puck. He loves to carry the puck up the ice. Naturally, there will be turnovers. And the other thing I would like for him to work on a little bit is he kind of can cough the puck up a little bit when he's a bit under pressure. But again, I think that is something that he'll work on. So he'll eventually, get that out of his game. But I think Blyle at 22 would be a very good pick for Pittsburgh, especially, like I said, with Carlson and Letang getting up there in age.
Yeah. And by the way, Matt, you mentioned before, you said to be fair like 2 picks ago for you. I forgot to be fair for you. So yeah, I know. I mean, it's starting to kind of wear out, and not a lot of people are getting the reference. So all right. So Evan, who would you want for the Boston Bruins to take at number 23?
Who would I want, or who will they pick? Because that's
who will they pick
for sure. Because I wasn't even considering Blale for this pick because Boston does not like those kind of players. Boston, we know that Sweeney is horny for his big physical players, which is why I think they're going to take Maddox Dejanay out of the queue. A physical winger, he probably comps to a Matthew Nyes light. I think that's kind of the comparison. I think he's more of a bottom or a middle six winger compared to Nyes, who does fill the role a little bit better for a top line guy. But yeah, he could chip in a little bit offensively with scoring. Like I said, plays very physical. The rest of his game is kind of just average. I mean, he is an okay stick handler, okay playmaker, kind of average skater. But I think Boston would really love this kind of player because, again, they love to get guys that they have to be at least 6'4" or they're not going to draft them. So, that's my pick there.
All right.
That's also never mind.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The spelling of his name, but I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to
Oh no, thank you. No. I mean, it was okay. I spelled it really fast, and I guess it was a typo right there. But there was,
his name is Daggernay now, which is
yeah.
It's not a bad name for a hockey player.
So that actually would be a pretty good name. Yeah, hey, Kaylee.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing you later on this week. And okay, Steven. So now we go to number 24. And number 24 is the Vancouver Canucks. This is their pick that they acquired from Minnesota in place of Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, the Vancouver Canucks are probably going to go full, maybe not full rebuild, but definitely the retooling route here. They already drafted third overall, getting Caleb Malhotra. With their second pick in the first round, they will go with a guy who has like pure skill, very evasive in the way he plays, was joint top scorer in the under-18 World Juniors for Sweden, and that's Elton Hermansson, who is from the same town as the Sedin twins, who have taken over the front office this summer. So there's some familiarity there.
Peter Forsberg also.
Yeah, Ornoldsvik. It's the same town as those guys. So some familiarity there. Plays for Modo as well. I think when it comes to pure offensive upside, he's one of the best players on the board at this stage.
Yeah, I would agree. If you talk about hands and shooting, he's like right near the top of the best player, if not the best player available in terms of like pure offensive skill.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying before, I think that's a high upside, high risk pick, I think, right here. Mm-hmm. But the payoff is just, oh man, if he turns out to be the player that I think he could be a real nice player.
And you can take a bit of a risk with a later pick when you've already picked top 3 with Caleb Malhotra, right? There's a little bit less pressure on knocking this pick out of the park, so you have a little bit more leeway to do swing for the fences.
I agree.
All right. Well, we got one more pick before we discuss the New York Rangers. So, Phil, the Ottawa Senators, this is the pick they got from Florida at number 25. What do they do with it?
It's funny, I made the other Ottawa pick and I took Ethan Belchetz before. I don't see a lot of great defensive talent here. Tommy Blyle would probably have been someone that I would have liked to have taken. I know a lot of people would probably look at maybe a Jack Hextall or a Brooks Rogowski, in the later part of this round. I do wonder if they could take one of the Ruck brothers, one of the Ruck twins. I don't think either one of them is really bad. I know a lot of people are a little higher on Liam than they are on Marcus.
May I interject there a little bit, Phil?
Yeah,
because Ottawa is one of the few teams that has the picks to draft both. Just saying.
Yeah, they have the ability to kind of get in there and make the trade for both of them. I think if they could move up from 32, I could see them finding there could be a world where they could get both of them. But If I'm Ottawa, I gotta go with JP Hurlbert here. Like I don't know how you pass up on that. I don't. I just think there's a lot of talent there. I think he's a pretty dynamic scoring winger. I love the upside here with this player. He was amazing this year in Kamloops, 42 goals, 97 points. Best player on his team, like by far, if you ask me. I just think he's just a pure natural scorer. There are a couple of things that he needs to work on. He probably could work on his skating a little bit. Maybe adding some muscles to this way he doesn't get knocked off the puck as easily. But like, I do think that there's, I think that's a way that you can. Oh, that's right. Ottawa can't trade 32 due to the rules. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a ruling that they can't trade 32.
Yep.
So, but
they have to pick 32nd overall.
Yeah. I would have loved for the Rangers to get him, but I think Ottawa would swoop in and take him before the Rangers could.
All right, because that's where we're at right now, and we have the Rangers at number 26. Who wants to take on this one?
I'll gladly jump in.
All right,
go. All right, go, Evan. Because I was excited to jump on this too, but go ahead.
No, all of us will definitely give our opinions on this because
yes.
But for me personally, the thing that I really want the Rangers to do the most in this draft is similar to what Phil was talking about with the Islanders earlier, is take swings on guys that have upside because they do not have enough of that in the farm system at all. And one of those guys I think has that upside is Mathis Preston. And I think he could be one of the better offensive talents in this draft. He's a really good skater, has a really good shot. Everything is there with the offensive tools. You maybe want to see a little bit better out of his playmaking, but outside of that, has really good offensive tools. The concern with him is sometimes he is a little bit checked out and there are inconsistencies in his play, especially defensively. He's not going to really help out in his own end. But again, like that's one of those things where I think that's a small detail that you could improve. And if he could find that consistency in his game, you're looking at a guy that could be a middle six scorer and potentially even a play driver in the middle six for the Rangers going forward.
All right, Steven, who was the guy you were thinking of for this pick?
So I would love the Rangers to definitely go with a forward, considering that they went defense with their 5th overall pick, getting Chase Reed. They definitely could use both winger and center help in their pipeline. But the guy that I would jump on at this point for the upside, for the development path that this kid's going to be going to Michigan State.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Hextall.
Youngstown Phantoms center Jack Hextall. Yes,
I knew you were going to say Hextall.
I'm a little biased. I have to admit, I follow the Youngstown Phantoms. I was in Youngstown last month, saw a couple of games in person. This kid for me really at 26, if you can get him, I'd be thrilled with him.
All right, Phil, who would you have taken at this pick?
Well, Hurlbert would have been my pick if he was available. Like, I don't think Blale would have fallen. I don't think Villeneuve would have fallen. Hurlbert would have been the guy for me. But next, after Hurlbert, I probably would go either Hextall or Preston. I like what Evan said about Preston. I think the compete level is a problem. There are just times where he just takes shifts off, and it's just he's inconsistent with that. And I do think you could fix that. I do agree with it. I think the upside is a little higher on Hextall than Preston, though. So I personally would go Hextall as well.
That's fair.
All right, and Matt, what do you think about the Hextall pick?
I've not watched him, so I can't I can't put any information on him at that point. Same with Preston. But I have Evan's notes pulled up. But I mean, like with Preston, I mean, one of the best skaters in the draft. We don't do with good skaters at Rangers. At Rangers FC over here, we just don't do that. We like guys who can't skate at all and are big bruisers. So, but listen, if we do take him, great. But again, I haven't watched him, so I really can't put any information on him or extra information on him as well.
Oh yeah, technically I should have asked you about the Preston pick. That's the one that they got. But guys, I'm just making sure I have the lineage right. But Jack Hextall is the great grandson of Brian Hextall. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, I would just find it intriguing if the Rangers go with a Hextall in the year they celebrate their 100th anniversary, considering the history the Rangers have with Brian Hextall. But that's just an yeah.
Yeah, he is related as a distant relative to Ron Hextall, which would then put him into the Hextall family. And then that gets you over to Brian Hextall, who, for those who don't know, scored the Stanley Cup winning goal in 1940. Which actually is, when you think about it, it's even kind of funny in 1994 when the Rangers beat Ron Hextall to go on to win their first. We could go with all the parallels and all the ways that fate went into things. But Steven, I'm going to go right back to you. The San Jose Sharks at number 27. Who are they taking?
Oh, the San Jose Sharks are thankful that the Rangers pass on Jack Hextall here, because with the amount of wingers they have in their organization, with William Eklund and Kiefer Sherwood and Toffoli and some of the younger guys like Beasted and Quentin Musty, center is a position that they could definitely use some help. So the San Jose Sharks go with the Youngstown Phantom center Jack Hextall.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what was it like seeing a game down there in Youngstown, you said?
Well, so I was quick story. I was in Detroit, then Columbus, then Chicago, and then my wife flew home, and I was going to DC for a conference. So I drove from Chicago to DC, but I didn't want to drive it all in one day. So I made a stop in Youngstown, booked a hotel, went to see the game, and then the next day I drove the second half of the trip. But yeah, like the Youngstown Phantoms, I always loved the story of how that team came to be. You know, the owners also sell fireworks. That's where the logo comes from. And just USHL arenas are so small. You get to talk to all these people that work for the team. They're all billet families of the players. They were talking about Kyle Connor, who stayed with the girl that works in the team store. And yeah, it's just USHL games are a ton of fun too. Kind of like CHL games, to be honest. But yeah, it was. They lost to the Madison Capitals, unfortunately, but it was still a great experience going. So.
All right. Yeah, I gotta check out like an OHL game or one of those USHL games or stuff like that. That's just one of those things you just gotta check out. Phil, we go to number 28. We're down to the final 5 picks remaining in the first round and in the special. But the Montreal Canadiens at number 28.
Hextall would have been a great pick for them.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all about it's a combination of what we think they'll do and what we think would be best for them. So if you think that was best for San Jose, you take it. There's no apologies necessary for any of these picks. With that said, I think I'm going Liam Ruck here. I think it's finally time for one of the two, if not both the Rucks, to be taken by the end of this first round. Liam had 45 goals and 104 points playing on a line with his brother in Medicine Hat. So I just think these two are just really good players. I think at this point, they're high value picks very late in the first round, because I've seen them mocked in like the middle of the round by 20. Again, mocks they're going to vary. Everybody's going to have their opinions on these different players. But I do agree that at some point, these guys are first round talents. Absolutely, for sure, for me. So you get Liam Ruck at 28. If you're Montreal, I think that's incredible value.
Evan, I'm going to you, number 29. I believe you're the one that actually broke the trade that this pick was for when we did the trade deadline special. But the St. Louis Blues at number 29, their third first round draft pick, and that was the New York Islanders selection they got from the Colorado Avalanche.
Mark.
Yeah.
So Evan gets all 3 of the Blues picks. This
you know what? It just shook out that way.
I got every Blues pick.
Evan, that now makes you the Blues GM, according to the rules.
Yeah, Evan Armstrong.
It sucks because Ruck was the guy that I would have took here.
There's another one.
I could go with his brother. I could go with Marcus. I just think Liam's the better player, but I'll go with Marcus Ruck here. I mean, I still think that he's a good player. Again, the thing that sucks is I think Liam has a lot higher of an IQ. Both players do, but I think Liam just has a slightly higher IQ, which puts him over the edge for me because it makes up for his skating. Because both of them are not the best skaters, but both of them really good playmakers. And both of them still do have high IQs. I'll go with Marcus Ruck here, though. I really want to go with Liam, though.
Yeah, I just got to fix his spelling because I had it with a C, not a K, and he was 6 foot 168. Yeah, 6 foot 168. Okay, here you go. A little bit late to the party, but I got it right there. By the way, just in case if anybody, the older people in the audience need to know, they are no relation to Alan Ruck, known as Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Steven, at number 30, the Calgary Flames are going to select.
Do we lose Steven?
So the Calgary Flames at the end of the first round. Sorry, my Is it work?
We're hearing you a little bit and sometimes seeing you move.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm back. With their second pick, is it their second pick in the first round, or did they have?
Yeah, they took
nine.
They had
There's the second pick.
6.
Yeah. Okay. So the Calgary Flames, who again are going into a complete rebuild, I think, need everything. I think they're going to go with a guy who was actually ranked very high a year ago in this draft. He was in mock drafts in the top 5 even, and later the top 10. Still available, still on the board. It is the younger brother of a guy the Rangers drafted a few years ago. It is 18-year-old Ryan Rubrick, who is one of the older guys in the draft, a little bit more developed, 6'4", 216. That's the Calgary Flames pick. Ryan Rubrick of the Niagara Ice Dogs.
All right, and I'm trying to get his name and not accidentally spell him as Roebuck.
Good job, Mark.
Well, just admitting when I have my mental lapses, if you will.
He's a guy that I'm surprised would fall. I don't think he's going to fall this far. I think he's going to go higher. I think we all kind of forgot about him a bit, to be honest.
I mean, what's the situation currently with his brother in the Rangers?
I mean, his brother's in Hartford.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Rangers took him at 26. I really wouldn't. If he falls that far, I really do think he get taken there.
Yeah, and he might not have like the top 6 upside that you kind of want to shoot for or swing for the fences for with a pick, but I not stylistically, but in terms of how much he might fall in the draft, kind of reminds me of Joe Veleno in 2018, who was considered a really high pick early on, and then the closer it got to the draft, the further he fell, and I think he was the last pick in the first round by the Red Wings that year.
Yeah, 30, I think. Yeah. 31, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, Dylan Rubrick for the Rangers had a phenomenal rookie season, scoring 20 goals. I think he's going to get a shot at some point. He's still only 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that
Ryan 6'4", 216. That'll give him a shot right there.
yeah, and that leaves only 2 picks.
That does. Philk, the Carolina Hurricanes at 31.
I think they could use some size up front. And this is where I think they take Brooks Rogowski. 6'7", 236 pounds. That's already NHL size. Like, this guy, like, he's got like Matt Rempe, Adam Edstrom size, and I think he has more talent than the both of them. I think he probably tops out as a 3C. So maybe he's like a Jordan Stahl replacement almost. But I think Rogowski would be a good pick here. I think there's more room for him to grow. And I think usually bigger body players, it takes a little more time for them to grow into those bodies. And it changes the trajectory of their development. So, I mean, at 31, this would actually be a nice little place where you can, take a chance on a guy like him.
I make the comments of a guy's size all the time, but I mean, geez, when you see 6'7", 236 coming off the,
Matt, don't fucking do it.
Yeah,
Don't do it again.
no, but
why?
still.
What did Matt do?
The 6'7".
I did this when he said 6'7".
Could have just glanced over it, but no.
I need.
All right. By the way, just somebody explain why the Ottawa Senators cannot trade this pick.
I'll explain it.
Good. You're a CBA guy.
The Ottawa Senators a couple of years ago traded Evgeny Dadonov to the Anaheim Ducks.
That's when they didn't get the trade in time. They got penalized. That's right.
Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks were on his no trade list, so they were penalized by losing their first round pick. So until like 3-4 months ago, they did not have a first round pick at all. It was going to be void, like the Coyotes pick in 2021. Now, personally, I believe the NHL did this so they don't lose face when the draft actually happens, and they still have 32 picks in the first round. But they decided to change the punishment to their first round pick being moved back to the end of the first round. So every team moved up a spot, and they now have the 32nd pick. But the caveat was that because it was a punishment, they're not allowed to trade it. Now, the question I have is, the player that they draft with this pick, are they also not allowed to trade that player?
That's interesting.
That's something that we haven't gotten any confirmation on, but that would make it really interesting if that's the case.
I'd imagine they could trade the player once it's picked. Like,
Yeah.
because
I
then you're
haven't seen
basically just
anything
giving
about
the guy a
that.
no move clause.
An undrafted prospect with a no move clause would be funny. But yeah, that's the story. It was initially a first round pick that they had to give up, and then they were given back the pick but moved to the end of the first round.
So even though the Ottawa Senators have multiple picks in this first round, this would be the third, but there's one that they cannot move. So, Stephen, while you're at it, what's the last pick of this first round?
So the Ottawa Senators, they can go in any direction here, but the player that I like for them is a Norwegian playing in Sweden in the under 20 under 20 league. There, Niklas Adam Olsen is their pick at 32.
Okay. All right. What else can you tell me about him? I'm not familiar.
Okay. Well, I saw a little bit of him because he played for the Norwegian teams with Rangers prospect Mikkel Eriksson a little bit over the last year. He has a really good shot. Doesn't shy away from the physical element of the game. Good on the forecheck. The question is, can he adapt to the higher pace in North American hockey with that play style? but the talent is definitely there, and offensive upside as well. So he's a guy that, with the last pick in the first round, I think would be a good addition for them.
All right. Well, that concludes our first round with this. Guys, when you look at this mock draft that we just did, is there another shocker that out of this draft when you guys were doing it, like the Carson Carls thing that had the ramifications of the draft, or was there just very predictable?
I thought Wyatt Cullen went a little higher than I expected him to go. Yeah, I had him lined up before. But yeah, I think the picks we made, the four of us, we gave good reasons why we selected the players. It's going to be fun to look back at this a week from now and see if any of these later picks actually ended up where we placed them. It's almost like playing bingo. So
it really is, and it's great when you get it right. Like, I know when we did our draft special a few years ago, I got Demidov right, and I know when Phil talks about guys that their stocks are rising. But yeah, it is great when you have your prediction and you're dead on.
It would be great to be able to tweet about how I'm dead on with my prediction. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, Evan. Not gonna lie.
It's a lot better than saying that half your Stanley Cup teams, including your Stanley Cup Finals, got eliminated in the first round. That was
If Gavin McKenna falls to 10, I just want everyone knows that I predicted it. Okay.
I swear to God, this prediction is gonna come true. I swear to God.
Swear to God.
Okay, everybody, Phil, start with you. Make one crazy prediction.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. To ask me to on the spot like this, holy shit.
Okay, well, in that case, Matt, go ahead. I'll start with you. What? Give me a crazy prediction.
No one else is ready, I could give.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Go, Matt.
I'll just say that it's not draft pick related. Connor Hellebuyck gets traded at the draft.
Okay.
Mine's a trade prediction too. I'll be more specific. Jason Robertson gets traded to the Devils.
To the Devils and not to the Ottawa Senators who are after him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Devils. I think trading Nemec just helped them get a lot of capital to make that happen.
Steven, how about you? You got a crazy one yet?
Oh, I do. I think Wyatt Cullen's going top 5.
Wow.
What? Wow.
Where do you have him going?
Well, you ask me crazy predictions. I could easily see him go in the 6 to 10 range. I wouldn't be shocked if a team gets him a little higher than that. He's one of the fastest risers in the second half of the season. Yeah. You know, he bulked up significantly over the last 12 months. Plays for the NTDP, which is always a good sign. Bloodlines. He's Matt Cullen's son. There's so many boxes that he ticks off with the way he plays. You know, he's a really good skater, good puck mover, moves sideways really well. I'd be shocked if he doesn't go top 10. I think a team is going to really reach for Wyatt Cullen.
I just don't know about top 5. I mean, I guess that's the crazy prediction.
I could see it in the top 10 too. Like if you would, all right. So like some of these mock drafts have like, all right. So I think Daily Faceoff, I think it is, had him going at like 9 to Ottawa.
Yeah. If the Rangers want to go with a forward at 5, I think Wyatt Cullen is their pick before Viggo Bjork.
I think so too.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying top 5. I think there's a significant shot that he goes to the Rangers at 5. That's my bold prediction.
Do you have one yet? Should I already joke about the Rangers trading the 5th pick for Matthew Knies? Because that would be a great decision.
No.
They trade they trade the 5th pick and Trocheck to Toronto for and maybe another pick for Morgan Riley and Matthew Knies.
Oh.
If that happens, I will jump face first out my apartment window.
No, I'm punching you, Matt, if that happens, just from that.
Don't worry, I'm gonna I'll punch him since, again, spoiler, we have a big stream for the draft coming up on Friday. I'll punch him for you though.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. That's going to be the mega show.
Well, at least it's not the other thing that you said you were gonna do. I'll take a punch.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'll go off the board here a little bit. Keaton Verhoff's going to be the first defenseman drafted.
Okay.
Would not
By the New York Rangers.
Would not surprise me if Verhoff is the first defenseman off the board.
With
the tools he has. You know, he's not the best skater among the defensive prospects, but he has the frame, he has the toolbox. He played in college in his draft year, was still eligible to play in the under 18s this year.
Yeah.
That's how young he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely see him be the first defenseman off the board.
Yeah, not only that, but I said this about McKenna, it also applies to Verhoff, but like instead of taking the easy route, he could have stayed in Cornwall, and he probably would have put up 80-plus points in Cornwall this year. And he could have done it with minimal effort, I think. He went the harder route, played in what is a faster game where you have to be more responsible, you have to make quicker decisions. I think he got better with and I watched North Dakota a lot, so I watched a lot of him and EJ Emery this year. Like, he got better with that as the season went on. He started off very shaky, and that's why he started to really slip down people's boards. But I do think scouts are going to take a look back at this and say, you know what, hey, he went the harder route when he could have taken an easier route, and that's where I think people are scouts are going to say, hey, you know what? I think this guy might have the best package available. Because if you fix the skating, there is a very, very realistic scenario where he becomes the best defender out of this draft. And I know, nobody wants to fix the skating. I think there are going to be teams that are going to line up. They're going to fix. They're going to do whatever they can to fix the skating. Because honestly, like a top speed, his skating's not terrible at top speed. It's the acceleration and the lack of separation speed. But once he gets going, he's not bad. His edge work isn't bad either. It needs improvement. His shot out of all the defensemen is one of the best, if not the very best. Like, especially slap shot and one-timer. Like, he has the heaviest shot of any defenseman in this draft, like by far. And he can put it on net and from a distance, and he's actually decent at getting it through. Like, Smits, one of the knocks on him is that he shoots into lanes that are already blocked way too often. And that's why people wonder about it. Like, his decision-making with taking shots is what could hold him back from being more of a point producer at the next level. He's got to get better in reading the play, seeing the lane, and getting the shot off quickly. And not only that, but getting the shot on net.
And there's a case to be made for guys like Chase Reed and Carson Carls, who I think are both committed to go to the NCAA this upcoming season.
Yes.
There's a case to be made that how would their numbers have looked if they had made the jump last year like Keaton Verhoff did?
That's why I continue to say it. But that's been the discussion with McKenna. If McKenna if McKenna stayed in Medicine Hat, and even Tynan Lawrence was on pace for over 40. All right, so a friend of mine that I had on the show, Logan Renkowski, finished second in the USHL in goals this year. Finished second. Tynan Lawrence would have had more goals than him had he stayed in Muskegon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's
think about
okay. So the Tynan Lawrence discourse is probably even worse because with the Tynan Lawrence move, what people don't take into account, not only is it a step up from the USHL to the NCAA, he made that jump mid-season. You know how hard it is to even go to a different team mid-season to get used to get used to the team's tactics and chemistry. Now add to that going to a higher level mid-season to a different team.
And I'll add another thing. So let's go back to 2018 in the draft in Dallas. Anthony and I were obviously there. I got to talk to Sam Cosentino like live. I got to interview him live at the draft. Great guy, super nice. one of the questions I asked him, because of the audible gasp of when it occurred, and you probably know where I'm going with this, Stephen, is Vitaly Kravtsov. And San Cosentino said that scouts said that he was the hardest player to put a grasp on where he would go, because scouts had him all over the first round, from like where he was picked by the Rangers to the very end of the first round, because he went from tier 2 to the NHL to the KHL all in one season, and had that real good KHL playoffs for Tractor. So,
the postseason he had for Tractor Chelyabinsk, that draft year, that's what made him shoot up the boards. And this has happened to other players too. This has happened to other players too, right?
Eric Johnson.
Sorry?
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson.
In his draft year he was not a top 5 before the end of the year. But he had incredible World Juniors and shot straight up.
Yeah, I remember Mark Scheifele was considered a massive reach at 7 by the Winnipeg Jets in 2011.
Yep.
I mentioned on the start of our recording Miro Heiskanen, 3rd overall to Dallas, who Miro Heiskanen was ranked the 4th best European skater that year, behind Klim Kostin, Elias Anderson, and Elias Pettersson. And he ended up going 3rd overall as the first European player, behind Dahlin and Svechnikov. And no one in Dallas regrets that pick. Sometimes a reach, and this is something I want to get out, and then I'll probably leave you guys. When we watch the draft on Friday, there will be talks about this and this guy is a reach, this and this guy is a steal. I want to reiterate here. A reach is not always a bad thing, and a steal is not always a good thing. There are players who were a steal, like Joe Veleno, who didn't really pan out for what the expectations were, and there are players like Mark Scheifele is a good example. Miro Heiskanen, Moritz Seider in 2019 were all considered a reach. Philip Hedl was ranked anywhere from 45th to 70th in 2017. We drafted him 21st overall, a massive reach, but you never hear Ranger fans complain about it because it was a good pick. That's what I wanted to leave you guys with. So,
well, it's always great having you, Steven, and we're going to see you Friday. And like I said, I love the show because you guys really do just fill up my brain with all the knowledge that I need on these prospects. I'd also be remiss if I don't mention to Matt and Evan right now, how about them Mets Saturday night giving up a 3-home run game to Kyle Schwarber and the cycle, the first time in 95 years, 93 years, I think it is, that's happened in MLB. Good thing Carlos Mendoza still has his job. Damn, what a manager he is.
Good thing David Stearns didn't want to go the extra mile for Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is I think I may have sent it to you guys, but Michael Kay talking about, was David Stearns really the mastermind in Milwaukee? Because Milwaukee, they don't seem to be missing a beat. They seem to be making all the right moves and everything like that. And here's David Stearns in New York kind of screwing things up.
Yeah. Oh, one final thing I want to bring up. Now that the Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup, and I brought this up with you guys last week. I'm starting to believe that it's no longer a coincidence, but more a trend that general managers who never played in the NHL are having success in their roles.
You were mentioning this on Sunday, and I got to agree with you.
Yeah, seven of the last 8 cups won by general managers who never played a game in the NHL.
Yeah, we brought this up, and it was Sakic, I think, was the one.
Sakic's the only one, because you had Armstrong in 2019, then Breeze brought twice, then Sakic, then Zito. Then McCrimmon, then Zito twice, and now Tulski.
Who was the GM in Washington in 2018?
George McPhee, I think.
No,
because he was in Vegas.
He was with Vegas by then.
It was in Vegas.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Because George McPhee, I know he used to play, I believe, for the Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens. But.
Yeah, he did.
Brian McClellan. Brian McClellan was the general manager from 2014 to 2024.
Because your trend might be a lot more deeper
Yeah,
than
Chris
your fringe.
Patrick took over for McClellan.
I don't have him under the hockey database, so there's another one.
No,
Another
Brian McClellan played for the Rangers even.
Oh, okay.
L.A. Kings, New York Rangers, Minnesota North Stars, Calgary Flames,
so then
Detroit
there's
Red
two.
Wings.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Drury's doing a fantastic job changing the culture.
Oh yeah, Lord.
Yeah, he's found a way to bottom out pretty well. So, I mean, we're gonna have about 6 hours worth of coverage on Friday. So there's gonna be lots of times for the guys to come in and out.
Hey Matt, rotten food as culture. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
the Rangers need to take a look in the mirror, but you know what? It's going to be a while for them to do that because after all, the Knicks ones, now Jim Dolan's like, hey, maybe it's time for the Rangers. The Rangers aren't close. They're not close.
Can Jalen Brunson skate?
Yeah,
Can
well,
Leon Rose do hockey? Really
Can Leon Rose do hockey? There you go.
well,
Yeah.
they'll turn around and be like, well, can we get everybody from Villanova to play for this team? Well, we're already
they're
trying to get
already
everybody
doing
from
that because
Boston.
they want everybody that has a tie to Boston. So I mean, might as well.
Yeah, there's other
Okay,
places.
So when are we trading for Will Smith
I mean, and Ryan Leonard at that point.
and Ryan Leonard? Yeah, there you go.
5 first-round picks like it's Mikal Bridges.
Fuck them picks.
Trocheck for another first-round pick. I don't
Oscar
think Trocheck's
Hemming with the 5th pick.
I'm gonna make my declaration here. I don't think Trocheck's getting moved at the draft.
I think
I'm going to back you on
I think he's
that.
getting moved in July.
I think that's further into the offseason because I think he's a guy that. So once Larkin gets moved, and I think the Rangers would actually be smart. Once Larkin gets moved, he's going to be the best center available, regardless of trade or free agent market. And that's when I think his value will be at its most because there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to view him as a fallback option, and that's when a bidding war can commence.
Yeah, Trocheck's not getting moved before Larkin because Larkin's going to set the market.
Yeah, unless there's an offer that absolutely knocks Drury's socks off, which I almost hope that there isn't because something that knocks Drury's socks off might be absolute dog shit in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I hope that Larkin gets moved before that happens.
Like,
are
you a slow, grind it out forward? All right, Chris Drury's in
Or
for
a
you.
third pair defenseman.
Oh, great.
I also don't think
Will Borgen, yay!
I stand by it. I don't think Schneider's going anywhere either. I pray to God that I'm wrong. I just don't see it.
I'm really looking forward to the package we're giving up for Bowen Byram.
But by the way, Steven, because you're the best one to answer this, what's really the difference between some of these trades that happened before July 1st and after July 1st?
The Rangers did this last year with Keandre Miller. The CBA states that a player can only sign an 8-year extension with the team he was on at the deadline, after the deadline. So last year, the Carolina Hurricanes, if they would have, well, he was an RFA, so that doesn't really matter anyway. But if let's say he was a UFA, like Mitch Marner, the Carolina Hurricanes would have only been able to sign him to a 7-year deal, right? So if a player gets traded as a sign and trade, the existing team, the team that trades the player away, signs him to an 8-year extension first and then makes the trade. It happened with Matthew Tkachuk. It happened with Damon Severson. Pierre-Luc Dubois is another one. Keandre Miller. And there's only a handful of players who have gone through this. September 15th, the terms change. You can sign a 7-year extension with your existing team or a 6-year extension with a team that you're not currently on. So that's why sometimes you see trades before July 1st.
Okay. Yeah, because I want that for clarification because you got some guys that are going to be like, oh, this, like, take for instance, Trocheck. This is going to benefit him to be traded before the draft or July 1st. Or in the case of Dylan Larkin, that's another one.
Yeah. Well, in those cases, you're talking about players with term left on their deals, so this would not be the reason. you might be looking at teams wanting to trade the guy because the return includes a draft pick for this year. That could be another reason to make the trade now. Like Brady Tkachuk, he was drafted for two picks?
2 picks,
Or
yes.
at least 1 pick this year.
2 picks this year, and then 2 future picks in 29 and 30.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So and the hate on them is so strong.
Trocheck is probably getting traded after July 1st because his no trade clause also yeah. So there are different reasons depending on the contract situation, depending on no trade, no move clauses, whether a player gets traded before or after July 1st.
Wait, but I was told, but based on 2 seasons ago or 2 off seasons ago, a limited no trade clause, it doesn't matter because Trocheck will just say he won't report to certain destinations.
Yeah, because his wife's a doctor or something like that.
Yeah. In that case, look.
Yeah, the last 2 years it goes from 10 teams to 6 teams. So yeah, it's no. Now it's no. All right, sorry. I'm sorry. It's going to be a 10-team list
after July 1st. It's a 12. It's a 12-team no trade now. It's a 10-team no trade after July 1st.
July 1st, yeah.
And regarding Trouba, the only thing I'll say there, Evan, is that Drury had the balls to put Goudreau on waivers. He should have done the same with Trouba.
Yep. I would have.
Or filed the grievance.
That too. There are 3 moments where Drury messed up. First, he should have put him on waivers. Second, if he wouldn't report to the other team, file a grievance and terminate the contract. And if that didn't work, at the very least, they should have stripped him of the captaincy because there's no world where Jacob Trouba should have been the captain on opening night in 2024.
We just got a tweet from Elliot Freeman, by the way. Hearing Ottawa's focusing hard on San Jose's William Eklund as a trade target.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a guy that was mentioned in a potential Rangers trade for Schneider, but I don't know how serious that was.
So
I jump at that.
Focusing on that, is that the 9th pick or is because they can't move?
Well, there was no details in it. If it's the 9th pick, though, then
if it's the 9th pick, we have to do all of this all over again tomorrow.
Yeah.
If it's the 9th pick, San Jose is in a freaking really good spot at the draft. Because, I mean, then you could definitely trade out because worst case scenario, too, you could use whatever picks you get when you trade back plus that 9th pick to move back up a little bit.
Yeah. San Jose, in that case, would have 2, 9, and 27 in the first round.
Yeah, not bad.
I think if anything, it would probably be pick 25 though. I don't think Bstep or Eklund are worth 9.
I agree.
Well, we know it cannot be 32.
Yeah, well that's what I said before. I was like, it can't be 32. So
well, Spence would definitely go in that deal. Like you have to think Spence goes the other way in that deal.
Is Spence a righty?
Spence is a lefty.
Yeah, he's a lefty, I think.
Okay.
You could pick
I think it would be a disaster for the New York Rangers.
Jordan Spence.
No, he's a righty.
Jordan Spence is a righty. That would fit San Jose's needs.
That would.
Yeah, and I honestly, he's young enough to the point where there still might be a little bit of upside. His analytics are pretty good. I think they may value that, but I just. Is that a needle mover for them?
No, but it's a piece that
it helps their depth.
Helps them enough now to where obviously that's not the main piece. They have to get some other big piece in this trade.
I think he's probably valued though higher because like we keep seeing these guys like all right. So Nemec has done less in this league than Spence has. I know Spence is a few years older, but like. Nemec has done like next to nothing in this league. He's had one okay year.
Phil, Spence went for a 3rd and a 6th a year ago from LA to Ottawa,
and he just had a 31-point season.
He had a really good season. If they trade him to San Jose and he flourishes with the Sharks, imagine how Kings fans would feel.
That would suck for them.
I wanted the Rangers to get him a couple years ago, but of course not. We had to re-sign Ryan Lindgren on a 1-year deal, and then trade for Will Borgen.
If Elliot Freeman's saying this, though, this this trade's getting done by the draft.
I definitely think there's a pick involved. I'm not sure if it's 9. It might be
I
25
don't think
plus
it's
a
9.
player.
I think 25 and Spence is like the start of that deal.
Because it's almost like it's following the Hall for Larson pattern, almost.
Hey guys, let me give you a pick'em on this one. And actually, I'll type it out. But the more maligned NHL coach or GM that will have a better season in 26-27, Mike Babcock or John Shaika?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Well, hold on. Babcock is the head coach.
Yep, but I mean, I'm just saying, who's going to have a better season?
This is like picking if I want gonorrhea or chlamydia.
Speaking of culture,
Basically, because they introduced Babcock today.
you know what I think? I think the Edmonton Oilers were so pissed off about the whole Cassidy situation that they approached Babcock to stick it to the NHL, and the NHL called their bluff. And now they're stuck with Babcock.
And by the way,
that's my conspiracy theory.
Nick Dry, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that I could think of in a positive aspect.
Well, this is the thing. Like, we also have to, like, how are we determining who's more successful? Like, which team's going to be better this season? Or, because if that's the case, then I definitely think Edmonton's going to have the better season of the two teams.
Yeah.
How about this? What team will give you a better feeling at the end of the 26-27 season?
I've thought of a way where we can judge this.
Okay.
The loser, whichever team is forced to trade their first line center first, McDavid or Matthews.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Toronto, like Ryan's saying, Toronto is a mess. I think.
Oh, Chris Johnson tweeted it, by the way. So the trade's happening right now.
Oh, it is?
The Eklund trade.
The Eklund trade. All right, let's see.
So we'll
Yep, there we go.
see the return.
Sends you up. There we go.
Wow.
That's a good question though. Because like the thing is, I really could see both being out by the end of the season, or wanting out. I would slightly lean Matthews more. I don't know.
I don't know, but I do know that Edmonton has not really brought in an experienced head coach since Todd McLellan, and a guy that I thought that had any type of pedigree to be able to take a winner to the next level. I know that they got there with Knobloch 2 years in a row, but McDavid went God mode in 2024. And, last year was just like, all right, they clamped down. They played a little better two-way hockey, him and Draisaitl. But they have not had a legitimately like a proven head coach that can really win. It's proven that he can win at a higher level since McLellan. And McLellan really, he hasn't won anything of note. But Babcock is a guy that's gone to a finals with, I know 23 years ago, pre-cap, but really an underdog Anaheim team, you can say, based on the back of Jaguar's illegal shoulder pads. But Babcock's a winner compared to any other coach they've had in the last almost 20 years. So for me, that's the one positive that I could take out of the whole Babcock thing, is that he knows how to win. He knows what it takes. So that might appeal to McDavid somewhat. I believe he was the coach in 2014 in Sochi, right?
Yes, he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was 10 years before he was relieved of his duties before even coaching a game in Columbus, because he was.
No,
was
I
asking,
get it. I get it.
like
I mean,
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Which player does he check the phone of first? Are we going to take bets on that?
Yeah.
Why'd you take the phone?
Why did you take the phone?
Wait.
We haven't heard that line in a while.
Wait,
Oh,
Matt,
God.
when we rewatch it, what was the other funny moment Mark had? What was the
I
other?
forgot what he
It
said.
was something about
man.
how the security guard should like beat up
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Drury or whatever.
Yeah,
The
security rough him up on the way
should
out.
beat up Panarin on the way out.
Oh, beat up Panarin.
Yeah, because I used that line because that was from a How About Your Mother episode. Where they're like, oh, well, we were good. Good thing you quit because we're gonna have security rough you up on the way out. But yeah, I mean, and let's not forget the other component on this. Steven, you mentioned it before. What was the other team that lost their first round pick over the last 10 years? The Ottawa not the Arizona Coyotes. Who was the GM of that team? John Chaika.
John Chaika. Yeah.
What?
I have another little tidbit for you here. The Rangers second round pick in 2026 has now been used in trades involving Nemeth and Nemec.
Fucking
Patrick
Patrick.
Nemeth.
Yeah, because the reason we don't have a second round pick this year is because Drury signed Patrick Nemeth 5 years ago.
I mean,
To pair him with
That's
Nils
like,
Lundqvist.
that's like Travis d'Arnaud, the perpetually traded for Cy Young Award winners player.
R.A. Dickey, and then
Roy Halladay first.
Roy Halladay, yeah.
Yeah.
These insiders
Oh,
suck. Like, don't do this to me. Just announce
did,
the fucking return.
Did anyone see that? Did anyone see the tweet? The paraphrase quote from Seinfeld about Game 4 in the NBA Finals. About the Spurs giving up the lead. It was a reference to the rental car scene where
Okay.
and the quote is like the car's not there and they go, see, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really
that's
the
a
most
good
important
reference.
part about the reservation, the holding. And someone tweeted, see, you know how to take the lead, you just don't know how to hold the lead.
Yeah.
And that's
That
really the
I
most
see,
important thing
yeah.
about the lead, the holding.
Well, I mean, that was the
Come on,
Rangers.
just
I mean,
I
they
like
led
that
in,
reference.
in 2014. They led in games 1 and 2.
They had a 2-goal lead in 3 of their 4 losses.
Yep,
Yep.
and they couldn't
Yep.
hold on to it.
But a 29-point lead in the NBA Finals, that's worse than what the Rangers gave up.
I'm trying to not be a dick right now, but like Dave Pagnotta just says nice pivot for Ottawa. The trade's being finalized. Like give the return. Like tweet when there's the return. Oh, God, this
No,
shit
we're
pisses me
here.
off.
We're hearing movement.
You know what? I'm gonna do something
Pull up
funny.
the insider bingo card again.
I'm gonna do something funny that I always do around the draft.
You're gonna put the eyes.
The
on Twitter.
eyes emote. Yeah, I just saw it. It just came up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna retweet it.
This always drives people crazy. Oh, always works.
Steven knows. He knows all
Well,
the
the
inside
thing is,
information.
what are you gonna quote tweet it with after? Because I remember last year when you did that, you like got you got some Rangers relay in the mail, and you ended up just quote tweeting a picture of that with the eyes.
Yeah.
No, Stevens should say that he predicted the William Eklund trade today.
I'll think of something. I'll think of something to justify this tweet.
You know what I forgot all about this for a second. But I mean, you're pairing Mike Babcock with Stan Bowman.
And Tristan Jarry.
And Tristan Jarry. Tristan Jarry might be the least mess out of the 3 of them.
I think all of them are just equally dog shit. Like the fact that John Gibson had probably been available for like God knows how long, and they did nothing to go after him was just stupid. When he was a clear-cut upgrade over anyone that they've gotten in these past like 6 or 7 years, I don't get it. I don't. Like somebody tweeted out the other day, like, "Oh, you're trying to keep Connor McDavid, and you've dropped $12 million on Jason Dickinson, Connor Murphy, and then there was another player that they said that But like, all right, I get you need like a bottom six center, and you need like depth defenders and stuff like that. But you're trying to keep the best player of a generation, and that's what you're focusing on right now.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like we want to get off of this, but I mean,
Carolina literally just won with Brandon Bussey coming in cold in the middle.
I still cannot believe how lucky they got with Brendan Bussey coming in there.
yeah.
He came in cold in a Stanley Cup Finals and still won. Miss me with the you need elite goaltending bullshit from now on, because it ain't true. It's not true.
Well, you want to look no further than the guy that just got elected to the Hall of Fame, Carey Price.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Keith Kachuk.
Oh, Keith Kachuk should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago.
His ball should have been.
Something I want to just throw of note here is apparently Thomas Drent says that there are teams around the league that have Bjork as high as 2.
It's going to be the Rangers.
Yeah, I think that might be smokescreen though.
It could be, but he didn't name what team, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not.
I would love if it was the Rangers. That would make me very happy if they took him at 5, but it's not them.
Give us the return.
Yeah, Carey Price. I get like. I think it's more of his international career that gets him in, because he's got World Juniors, he's got Olympics.
Well,
that's World Championships.
Phil, that's something that people often forget about. It's the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because his NHL career really isn't all that great. He's probably got 5 or 6 seasons at most where you're like, I mean, full seasons, not like these half little seasons. Because really, it comes down to like, all right, so his rookie year, he was top 10 in Vezina voting. He actually had a pretty good rookie year. The year after that wasn't a great year. The year after that was meh. And then 2011 was a very good year. 2012 was a very good year. 2013 was a kind of year. 2014 was a very good year for him. 2015 obviously was the big year. And then 2016, he probably would have swept everything. He probably would have been the unanimous Vezina winner had he stayed healthy in 2016. And then 2017 was also a very good year. And then after that, there's not really anything to look at. Yeah,
hey guys, just a quick joke to throw out there. If the Rangers still had Gordie Clark with them, who would he be selecting at number 5?
Oh, that is a
smartest guy in the room. Who would he select at number 5? Oh, I don't know.
That is a good question.
All right, so what player out there resembles another player that's played for a team that's successful in the NHL right now? Because that's what he would have done, like he did with Vitaly Kravtsov and Evgeny Kuznetsov. That's what he would have done.
No, he would have took Oscar Hemming at 5.
No, I don't think it would have been. I don't think it would have been any. It would have been Brooks Rogowski.
Nikita Klepov is my my pick there.
Brooks Rogowski feels like a jury pick anyway. You know, he's 6'7". Don't do it, Matt. It just feels like a jury pick. Not with the 5th overall.
The biggest project pick in the first round. That's a good call on the Gordie pick, because he loved going off the board and taking projects.
Yeah.
Elton Hermansson, because he had a really good under 18s.
That almost reminds me as to when like when the Rangers or when that line, it was Korpikoski, Petteri Nokalainen, and Lauri Tukkonen dominated the U18s in 2004, and they all went in the first round, and none of them really ended up being any type of impact player in the NHL.
I'll say this though, our mock drafts are already probably already out of date, because now that they trade Eklund, San Jose, they're taking Stenberg at 2. Probably.
Pick 9's in the trade. Oh my god.
Oh my, they're getting the ninth
Wow.
pick. Yo, Greer. So William Eklund, Casper Haltunen, and the rights to Brandon Swoboda to Ottawa to San Jose for pick 9. So no Jordan Spence.
Who's tweeting this?
The Sharks officially put it out.
Oh, the Sharks.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez, that's terrible.
Mike Greer is.
Are you kidding me with this?
Do you remember when everybody thought Mike Greer was getting fleeced on every single trade?
So he got the 9th overall pick for Eklund, Haltunen, and Swoboda. Are you okay?
Wow, what is Ottawa doing?
Man, William Eklund really has to hit it out of the park for the Senators for this trade to make sense.
I don't understand what they're doing here. Like, I mean, Eklund's a nice player, but it's and you had Eklund wrong, Mark. It's Lund, not Land.
Yeah, Eklund.
Oh, my bad. I wrote it fast.
Like Lundqvist.
Yeah, trade Lafreniere.
That's just wow.
That gets if oh wow. I mean, if William Eklund can get you that, it may be worth it to explore Lafreniere depending on where the pick is. I'll tell you that right now.
Wow.
Mike Greer, take a bow.
So Mike Greer has 2 picks in. Weren't they 9th overall before the lottery?
Something like that.
I think they were 9th or 10th.
So they essentially added a 2nd overall pick for William Eklund.
Yep.
That's essentially the trade. They acquired a 2nd overall pick and parted with William Eklund.
So now, I mean, looking at this now, I can't see them taking Carson Karls at 2.
No, they're taking Stenberg now at 2.
I would imagine.
Yeah, well, now you basically get Stenberg and one of these defensemen.
The defenseman at 9.
They were the San Jose Sharks pick originally was 9th.
Wow.
They're gonna get
draft now.
They're gonna take Stenberg at 2 and Smits at 9.
Would not be surprised one bit.
Probably.
We got to redo the entire mock draft.
Anybody got time?
Motherfucker. My career's just good at this thing. Wow.
So in that case, Evan, is that going to give you more hope that now Carson Karls is available for the Rangers?
Karls is still not the guy I want. I want Smets. I want Bjork the most, but if not, I want Smets.
Wow. I mean,
yeah, I just tweeted it out. Prior to the draft lottery, the Sharks had the 9th overall pick on William Eklund. Now they have the 2nd overall pick and 9th overall pick. They gave up Eklund and added a 2nd overall pick. That's basically the last 6 weeks for them.
No,
did we have Mike Greer as a
won the Samaskevich trade because of the fact that
Chicago. He was traded to Seattle.
I don't know why he's saying Chicago with Seattle, dude.
I think he's thinking of the Spencer Knight trade.
Well, he's saying Samaskevich, so it's got to be Seattle.
Yeah, it's got to be Seattle.
So,
Yeah.
I think he was thinking of the Spencer Knight trade.
No, I don't. Yeah. He meant.
How does Florida wins all those trades?
Yeah, well, Florida won that trade because they used the pick that they got from that trade
They got
to
Brady
go get
Tkachuk.
Brady Tkachuk, and now they have probably the best top 6 in the NHL.
And they won a Stanley Cup in the middle of that.
In the league to play against. So you could go Barkov, Reinhart, and Verhaeghe, and then your second line is Bennett and the Tkachuks, and then you have Brad Marchand on your third line with Lundell and Luostarinen.
Yeah.
How are you? That's the best top 9 in the NHL right now. Good luck.
Yeah.
If they get Connor Hellebuck, you might as well just pack it in.
This is almost like, if that's the case, that's almost like Detroit in 2002. They dominated everybody. and like it wasn't even close.
I'm definitely I'm gonna watch a lot of Panther games next year because they're gonna be fun to watch.
You know, I'm really glad we played them in the Winter Classic this past season and not this upcoming season.
Yeah, update.
Well, we won the Coco Cup though. Like, hang the banner.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Okay, update on the whole new team thing in Texas. Bettman said they've agreed to a $3.5 billion total investment fee and closing arena build if they go ahead with expansion to Houston or Austin with the Freakin family. All part of the terms sheet, which has been agreed to. Bettman said the process will take 6 months to decide.
So Austin is an interesting city to mention there because it's the largest city in North America without a top four, big four sports team. And the NHL have kind of been pioneers in that regard. You know, they were the first league to go to Vegas. They now might just put a team in the biggest city in North America that doesn't have a big four sports team yet. As much sense as Houston makes, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Austin instead.
I forgot who got there first, Nashville or the Predators or the Oilers got there first. I thought the Predators were announced first when they went to Nashville.
The Predators joined the league in '98.
Yeah.
I think the Houston Oilers moved in '99. Let me look that up.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans, I think, were 99. I think was their first year.
Well, no, I think it was actually 2000 was their first year, but they were still the Tennessee Oilers, I believe, in '99.
97, 98, they were the Tennessee Oilers, and then starting in '99, they were the Tennessee Titans.
There you go.
Mike Greer is so good at his job.
Yeah.
Shit. That. Wow.
Well, guys, I said I was good. I said I was good.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, so I'll talk to you guys on Friday.
Thank you, Steven, because I was thinking the exact same thing.
See ya.
Take care. Let's get Steven. Let's get him out. Yeah, we got a lot of... Jay, this would frighten me because, again,
no,
I don't think any first-round picks.
No, I wouldn't touch Kent Johnson right now unless it was for a very, very cheap return. I feel like he's done a little bit of an unfair shake in Columbus, but he hasn't exactly helped himself either.
I can't lie though with Greer. Like 2 years ago when he made the Hurdle trade, I was like, what exactly is the plan here? And then fast forward 2 years later, he's like, okay, now I see where this is going. He's done a fantastic job turning around that franchise.
Yeah, and I think Julico is right about this one. I think it just favors Chase Reed going to the Rangers. And this is why I said all the time with this that the Rangers, they just needed to not think about it. They need to be whoever was left out of the big players, that's who they should just take.
I
don't think about
Reed's
it. Just
gonna
take
be
it.
there at 5. I think Reed goes to Chicago now in this
Yeah,
scenario.
I think if San Jose takes Stenberg, I think Chicago's going to pivot and take Reed.
That's why I'm not a big believer on Bjork. And again, yes, size has something to do with it. But sorry.
All right, so it is partially, like I said, it's about the size, but his skating is not great. If he was an exceptional skater at his size, then I would have no problem taking him. But I think if he was an exceptional skater at his size, I think he'd probably be a top 3 pick. I think he'd go ahead of Malhotra.
And I just wonder if Vancouver is going to just go, we're taking Malhotra no matter what.
I think they are.
It sounds like they are. It sounds exactly like they are. But
definitely going too. So I don't think it's a question, because if Stenberg fell, then I think it would have became a question. Now, no, I don't. I think they're going to go with Malhotra.
Yeah. Well,
I
mean, the Blackhawks, like, all right. So that comment from Julico is right. Like, they do need left-handed defense. Because Levshinov is a righty, Vlasic's a lefty. I think Korchinski's probably on his way out. Like they need help on their left side. You gotta wonder if it's maybe Smits.
for Chicago.
Yeah.
I still think that they would take Reed.
I do agree with you. I do think that that likely it is they take Reed, but they absolutely need help on their left hand side.
Oh, this is just amazing what Guerrero's able to do.
Wyatt Kaiser is on their left side. Like, who do they really have on the left side aside from Alex Vlasic? I mean, Sam Renzel, he's a righty.
All right, guys, I gotta actually take off myself. Obviously, thank you guys. I was gonna say thanks everybody for joining us today. We got a lot of draft coverage. Phil and I are going to be back with Anthony tomorrow for the big show and talk about. There's a lot to break down. We're going to talk about the guys that are rising in the draft, stocks falling in the draft, and obviously moves like this. This is just wow. I'm in disbelief. I wonder if there's going to be another move before this. So,
I mean, I think now that this trade happened, I think one of Matt or I's predictions going to come true, and I think it's going to be with New Jersey. It's just a matter of if it's Hellebuck or if it's Robertson. That's my prediction there.
I'm thinking it's going to be Robertson, if that's what they're looking to do, and what I mean, Ottawa's given up. I'll give up the 9th overall pick to get William Eklund. I mean, we can only imagine what Robertson's gonna be the ask for. And I mean, Robertson goes to New Jersey. That immediately puts the New York Rangers as last place, in my opinion. Just put him in.
Sonny Meta. That's what happens when you have a competent GM.
Yeah, but no, Chris Drury is great. I have absolute confidence in him. All right, but guys, so that's where we're going to end it for today. Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Yep. As always, to the illustrious John Filkowski. And we are...
Not a word to use for me. Thank you, but definitely not a word to use for me.
All right, the very knowledgeable John Filkowski. How about that one?
Debatable, but sure.
Okay. Well... guys, thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, we got a lot to cover. We got our weekly show tomorrow. We got a lot that we're going to have to pack into that. Can't wait to wake up and do that one. And we will see you tomorrow afternoon.